Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Propagandacast with me, your host, Imperial Dane. And today we have for you a 1 versus 1 on Langres. Yes, indeed, it is a return to Langres with its high yield munitions point by the farm, the fuel points behind the strategic points, which of course means harassment, and further harassment. Hilarious, exciting fun for, well, the opponent. Not much for you when you have to defend it. Not rather a problem with it, as always. And who shall be fighting against each other? In the northern corner we are seeing some dude from Scotland, master of the vague. We shall have to see if his vagueness also extends into strategy and tactics, or if not, I cannot say. But nonetheless, here is 91st Luftlande Division, perhaps with some support. And who shall be finding him? Howyoulikemenow, as the American 3rd Infantry Division, no, 4th. The 3rd was an armored, but there we have them, American troops, infantry, ready to take on the crowds here and force their hand. And let us get on with things, shall we? Let us not dither about. Setting up a barracks, nothing unusual there. Engineers coming out as well. Meanwhile, Mr. Some dude from Scotland, Hauptmann Some, getting out with pioneers, but not setting up a Wehrmacht quarters. And looks like we will be seeing a lot more pioneers. Second pioneer team going straight for this munition point, not building a Wehrmacht quarters either. This is certainly already rather divergent from the usual Wehrmacht. My apologies. Program just wanted to know that it wanted to update, and I of course that told it to bugger off for now. And pioneers moving out. Further pioneer teams as well. In fact, we are seeing 4 pioneer teams so far. Will we be seeing a Wehrmacht quarters now? Apparently not. So a 4 pioneers start, but nothing more. I'm not entirely sure that would constitute as pioneer spam, but it's certainly pioneer heavy. Of course, question is what it will devolve into. We are seeing engineers moving about, riflemen hitting the field. All jolly good. Pioneers securing territory for the fatherland, here, and there. And a bunker. That's rather curious. It's not like it's going to help them in the great amount. And now we are seeing a 5th pioneer team and a Wehrmacht quarters. So 5 pioneers and a Wehrmacht quarters and a bunker. That's an awful lot of manpower, but nothing really that can actually find a single infantry team. So looks like Mr. Howyoulikemenow will be able to gain the early advantage if he plays his cards well. Of course, there is question moving in, taking up position in this building. Of course, he's probably expecting the sort of usual Wehrmacht tactics and strategy, and of course this will of course be rather unexpected, because how many opponents go for 5 pioneers and a bunker and a Wehrmacht quarters? I'd certainly not be expecting that, but apparently Mr. Vague is pushing through in the west. Pioneers, though, apparently doing absolutely nothing. Now they're just stopping up here by the bunker for some completely bizarre reason. Well, this is certainly vague behavior, but I'm not entirely sure how to react to this. I mean, it's rather the first time I've seen this, and this is why I basically wanted to show you to it. It's rather different from Mr. Some dude from Scotland. In most Wehrmacht players, we're seeing riflemen marching about them. Usually we see lots of heavy machine guns, perhaps, or lots of Volksgrenadiers, of course the usual combination, which is of course also the good thing. But here we're seeing lots of pioneers, and now his pioneers are just standing about by a bunker that's not even upgraded. I mean, I'm quite unsure what's going on here. And we are seeing something coming up from the Wehrmacht quarters by now. Question is, of course, what will it be? Volksgrenadiers, MG42, bike, or a sniper? Now a Kampfkraft center is going up. Pioneers still standing about, perhaps protecting this strategic cutoff point. I'm not entirely sure. Pioneers in the west forced back by riflemen. Further riflemen forced out, and I'm rather curious as to what Howyoulikemenow would be thinking at this stage. He's so far only seen few pioneers. He's not seeing any overt maneuvers from the Wehrmacht commander. In fact, I think it's a waste to have this many pioneers and then not be using them. I mean, he could be striking through here and here, using those pioneers to really gain a territorial advantage right early on, but he's not. He's just standing about, and we're seeing a machine gun and bunker here. All right, nice to protect here, but if some engineers with flamethrowers were to move about here, instantly useless. Riflemen moving in from the south, just beyond the arc of the MG42. Pioneers charging in, snipers opening up on the riflemen, and the riflemen pulling back. Just a note to all you pioneer happy chaps: there is a penalty for you clumping up your pioneers like that. In fact, as well again stated, to partly deal with pioneer spam, so if you keep your pioneers blobbed up, they will in fact take a lot more damage. So very important thing to note, and we are seeing veterancy 1 for them. If this is a proper pioneer spam of any sort, we'll of course also be seeing veterancy 2. Question is of course if he will do that, or if he will continue his rather vague tactic strategy, which seems to so far not really. I'm not entirely sure what sort of purpose this strategy actually has. I mean, there's a lot of pioneers and a sniper, sort of interesting. I mean, it can overwhelm any one team at point, but at the same time the American can easily gain most of the territory, and in fact has gained most of the map at the moment. I mean, that's already rather one problem which will place him at a severe disadvantage. I mean, if Mr. Howyoulikemenow, for example, went straight for an armored car, well, Hauptmann Weg would be in a lot of trouble, since he would have absolutely nothing to hold it back. And what is this? No, we're seeing Howyoulikemenow instead going straight for BARs. That's a bit curious. I mean, he's not really facing a lot of infantry, he's facing a lot of pioneers, and an armored car would certainly be the key here, I think. But apparently not. And usually when you see something like this, rather a lot of support units and really non-combat units, it's a delay tactic, a delay strategy. And in fact we're seeing something here: fuel point on a medium yield fuel observation post on a medium yield fuel point. Again, he's going straight for something heavier, again sort of delay tactics. And now we're seeing another sniper. This is, well, quite different. Not even sure how to quantify this, since, well, you rarely have ever seen anything like this. And Howyoulikemenow is doing absolutely nothing. He's not pushing much forwards here or there. He has a jeep, but he's not really using it. He's not laying down mines, which could also be of help. There's nothing really going on. This is an absolutely bizarre match so far in part of the Wehrmacht commander. Pioneers marching in once more in great numbers. Snipers conducting overwatch, but not really doing much, going straight for this victory point. Well, again, I'm absolutely unsure as to how to react to this. We are seeing something coming up here, probably going for the skirmish phase. Riflemen moving in here, discovering a observation post on the fuel point. Snipers firing away, one rifleman down, the rest getting out of there. Now getting a supply yard, good. Only 3 infantry teams and a jeep. Pushing through here. Pioneers getting back. Jeep moving in, not really facing a lot. Hoping to perhaps find those snipers which are working in a pair. Plenty of pioneer teams. Riflemen standing about doing absolutely nothing. And looks like this jeep is getting ganged up by the pioneers, forcing the jeep to retreat. And riflemen clearing out that fuel point and taking it for Uncle Sam. Not entirely sure why the 91st are throwing in their pioneer company like this, or at least platoon it looks like, perhaps in a small squad, but still awfully curious way of doing things. He's not really pushing forwards by a great deal. Although then again, Howyoulikemenow passiveness is also quite incredible, but then again that's probably due to these 2 snipers, which are an absolute threat in a sense. But again, jeep's not doing anything, it's not hunting them down, and pioneers getting engaged by the riflemen. BARs blasting away. Pioneers probably going to take quite a bit of damage. And 2 riflemen down. Flamethrowers open up on the pioneers. Not getting veterancy 2 for them and elite armor. And now the snipers are forced to retreat, leaving behind the pioneers to deal with all of this. This could very easily end up badly for them. And what is this? We're seeing a Krieg barracks now up from some dude from Scotland. And now an MG42 team. Still not sure what to think of this. It's an absolutely curious strategy and curious tactics employed in general. I'm not really sure again how to quantify it, how to measure it, because it's so bloody bizarre. Now we are seeing a weapon support end up with not a sniper, but instead a heavy machine gun team. Again, very curious methods being used by the Wehrmacht commander, yet he's somehow having quite an effect on Howyoulikemenow, who's doesn't seem to have an idea either how to handle him. Though pushing on with his riflemen in the west, so clearly he has some idea. And what is this? Stormtroopers being called in. Rather interesting. Solomon of the 17th SS making their way to support, apparently going to act as the main infantry element. This is certainly curious. Snipers continue to fire away, getting 2 engineers. Looks like he is managing to catch up some steam, but these pioneers might want to get back, at least this one. And snipers clearing out the engineers. Jeep doing absolutely nothing. Stormtroopers getting Panzer charging in. Heavy machine gun is not set up. My goodness, Howyoulikemenow, why didn't you set that up? But there we go, opening up on the Stormtroopers, catching them out in them open, suppressing them, taking sniper fire though. Snipers moving in, opening up on riflemen and heavy machine gunners. Another heavy machine gun is down. Jeep has to move in, but at the same time it feels awfully cautious due to the Panzer, and now heavy machine gun as well, taking quite a bit of damage. Get that Jeep out of there. And 10 minutes, let's go have a look at the big one. Heavy machine gun retreating. And what is this? I'm actually hearing a mine going off. Apparently some dude from Scotland had been laying down mines. So be mindful of mines. And this is certainly not quite uncommon with a lot of people going blitzkrieg and then using stormtroopers for infantry. Of course, mind you, stormtroopers are quite expensive to using exclusively for infantry. And he's not keeping his snipers or heavy machine gunners up with them. In fact, they're only down to 2 men. So if, say, Mr. Howyoulikemenow got a sniper himself, he could be able to cut them down easily. Riflemen here having completely stopped up, not connecting this fuel munitions point, or perhaps pushing up here to get this fuel point. Neither thing. And stormtroopers coming under quite a bit of fire, forced to retreat. And pioneers just standing about here, not laying down mines, not really doing much, even barbed wire or tank traps. And now getting some veterancy for his infantry, but again not pushing out. He's just standing about. I'm seeing rather heavily passive play from either side. No one really pushing through, no one really opting in to really deliver the crushing blow. Anyhow, the 91st Luftlande division was an air landing division, sort of glider troops of the Germans, but after Crete, where most air operations were in fact put heavily under closure because their Führer thought it was simply too heavy in terms of losses. And we're also seeing armored cars out now. Interesting. So the 91st Luftlande division was basically used as a regular grenadier division and posted in Normandy, where it fought near Cotentin and such. And it also had the support of a armor replacement battalion with a lots of Hotchkiss and Renault tanks, I believe, or that was the 352nd, I'm a bit unsure. But snipers opening up on these riflemen right here in the building, taking quite heavy losses. Pioneer team cut down. We are seeing a bit of action here. And nothing else. Strafing run though, going in, pinning down the snipers. Riflemen though, looks like they were, no, they did survive. Jeep moving in for Uncle Sam, cutting down those snipers, or not, apparently a bit unsure who's the target of the two. Indecision, who to kill off those crowds. Not for me to tell. Riflemen pushing through in the west. We are finally seeing a bit of action again. Things livening up. My goodness. Jeep taking a Panzer shot, and we are seeing a pack as well. Jeep throwing away the crew. And the M8 opening up on this bunker with lots. No, only one heavy machine gun. In fact, he hasn't upgraded it for some curious reason. He has a bunker, but he's not upgrading. For example, a medic bunker would have been a nice choice. But no. No medic bunkers for him. Stormtroopers moving in. No mortars, which could also have been helpful. Heavy machine gun again standing about. He doesn't seem to be good at actually using his heavy machine guns to actually put them up. Armored car forcing back these pioneers. Awfully quiet game, certainly not highly professional. There's certainly a bit too much caution on either side, I feel. Grenadiers from the 91st finally arriving as well. We shall have to see what they will be doing, and I do believe we are halfway through the game. One heavy machine gunner going down right as we hit this point. Of course, we're seeing a rather different game, not the sort of game of highly professionals. We're probably seeing some dude from Scotland trying something, well, new. And while he is having some success, he doesn't really seem to have any sort of idea what he's actually sort of trying to achieve on the strategic level. He doesn't seem to be running a sort of delay strategy and then going for something heavy like armored cars or tanks or anything like that. Not at all. But he doesn't seem to be going rather heavily either with some lot of pioneers or stormtroopers or anything like that. He seems to be sort of in between delay, but not really pushing the advantage once he has the delay in. And Howyoulikemenow doesn't really seem to know how to react. He has a heavy machine gun, but he's not really using it. He could perhaps get a mortar and break through, and I believe he might be getting one there. Yes, indeed, finally getting mortar. In fact, he's getting two, which might be a bit excessive. And he has an armored car, but anyhow, let's return to this. For Howyoulikemenow, he basically just needs to break down this point, I think, and break through, and then he might have victory. For some dude from Scotland, he really needs to get more infantry out on the field, and he needs to support those and deliver some blows to the American infantry. But really an absolutely curious game. We are seeing airborne, and we're seeing a lot of munitions for Howyoulikemenow. Packed nearby in a rear position, good placement there. Grenadiers moving towards the central area. Mortar setting up in a nice covering position. Nice placement there. And mortar firing away. Rifleman holding back the pioneers. My goodness, has he forgotten completely about them? Why isn't he using them? For example, take this or this. Not good unit control from Howyoulikemenow. Grenadiers coming under fire from the mortar. Veterans 1, nothing else at the moment. Pioneers standing about this bunker, and stormtroopers not really doing either. I'm seeing a lot of passive behavior from either side. Two mortar teams now, a small mortar section, in fact, rather interesting. Again, either side, I feel, lacks aggression, they lack cohesion, they lack boldness, they lack actually doing anything at all. I mean, the American is way too passive for an American, and, well, the Wehrmacht is also too passive for an Wehrmacht player. In particular, since he's gone blitzkrieg, yet he's acting as if though it's a sitzkrieg. Which is a pun, which basically means, as some of you might be figuring out, just basically sitting around. And that's what they're doing, which is a bit dishonorable considering, yes, he's blitzkrieg. Sturm Armory up. Will be interesting to see what will be coming out of that. Perhaps a Nebelwerfer, perhaps a Puma, perhaps a Stug. A Stug would certainly be able to push through here. Pioneers coming under fire, get them out of this. Hauptmann Weg for the fatherland and all that. No reason to make heroes out of them yet. And lots of mortar fire raining in, putting on the pressure on these stormtroopers, forcing them out. Good job in getting that. Although one goes down, Sturmtruppen suffering losses. Still no upgrade on this bunker, and this bunker in fact might come out of position. And why is he placing his pack right next to a bunker, in particular now that mortar fire is raining in? That's basically begging to have them knocked out. And again, don't place other units near things like static emplacements. They tend to be high priority targets for enemy artillery, and if you place something near it, it's going to be caught up in it. Thing to note. Stormtroopers in dire need of reinforcements and healing. Puma moving in, snipers opening up. Catching a few heavy machine gunners. Heavy machine gunners coming under fire from the Puma as the auto cannon opens up. Armor piercing round, tearing through the Puma. And the M8 coming under packed fire. That was not good at all. Looks like the M8 might soon be out. Snipers getting caught out in the open. Sniper down, M8 down. Medic station also being placed. Mortar and heavy machine guns being knocked out. My goodness, those are absolutely horrific losses for the Americans. Puma moving in to try and catch this sniper, but he can't really spot him. There we go. But no, the American sniper gets into safety. Wehrmacht sniper doing absolutely nothing though, despite having a nice there. And there we go, missing the American sniper. Will the Americans? No, the American sniper doesn't get the firing up, and he uncloaks him. My goodness, why is he doing that?
Enemy unit down.
That was peculiar. 2 snipers down. That's 680 80 manpower down the drain. Sniper really needs to get out of there. Puma, why is he just maneuvering about? Might as well give it up and get something to find it and then just focus elsewhere. Riflemen moving in front of the armored car. Not sure why they're doing that. Grenadier standing about now, equipped with an LMG-42. Jeep not being salvaged for munitions. Fresh stormtroopers moving ahead, having lost the other team, which of course is a bit disgraceful. Coming under fire, what is he doing? Opening up, and a lot of munitions for the American Pioneers moving in. Grenadiers not supporting them. My goodness, why? There seems to be again poor cohesion, poor management of troops. Grenadiers though moving in with one rifleman down from rifle fire. LMG-42 opening up, doing light damage. Grenadier rifles seem to be doing more damage. Another down to rifle fire. Rifles just continue to do most of the action. LMG opening up, finally scoring a kill and another down. Good job. BAR left behind as well. Puma moving in. Schwimmwagen now out for the Reich. A Schwimmwagen. My goodness, it's a bit rare to see those for the Wehrmacht. Still nice to see. A bit different for sure. Wehrmacht pushing through here. Picking up the BAR, meaning they have two LMGs. One that can fire on the move and one that can fire while not moving. Certainly going to increase the anti-infantry firepower of that team. Airborne on the field with recoilless rifles. Might things finally be heating up? Might we be seeing some good action? Will they just be moving about as headless chickens? I can't say. Again, some sort of lack of strategy from either side seems to be lacking. Either side not entirely sure what to do, just moving forwards without coordination, without strategy. Not really opting for any harassment, perhaps going through here or here, and the American player just seems to be moving about here and doing absolutely nothing with all the other troops. He's not laying down any assaults, he's not tying up any troops, and now a Stu-42 out from the 91st. Rifle airborne coming under fire. Grenadiers not moving in to deal with this. Why isn't he? Oh dear. Airborne going in, and Grenadiers charging in. Will they be taking up positions? No, and mortar fire might be opening up right here. And opening up on the bunker. Grenadiers not taking up cover, instead moving behind for reasons unknown to me. Again, I'm not entirely sure what either side is up to. LMG opening up. Armored car as well. Airborne pulling out. Stu-42 moving in without support. What is he doing? Trying to take out the mortar, but he's exposing the rear to an anti-tank gun. That's absolutely horrific. Again, why on earth he's not using support? Assault being used on the machine gun. Stunning and doing quite a bit of damage. Stu-42 lost. And a heavy machine gun cleared out. But again, some dude from Scotland, again, he seems to have no coordination between his units. He's not using infantry support armor. And he's certainly just throwing them in without even spotting for anti-tank guns, particularly in the case of the Stu-42. And then he proceeds to ignore the anti-tank gun and is exposing the rear to it. I mean, that's terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Enemy unit down.
And let's just speed up things. I doubt anything really will be happening here for some while. The 91st seems to have ended up with someone who doesn't know how to do things. Puma moving in for flanking maneuver on the anti-tank gun. Though taking fire from recoilless rifles, and the anti-tank gun might get the killing blow in. Grenadiers moving in. Puma knocked out. Pioneers moving in without support, getting torn apart.
Enemy unit down.
Mortar recruit opening up. Grenadiers doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. Oh. And moving in here on these riflemen, but they are not stopping up to use the LMG. Why? One rifleman is down. Another lost. Veteran 2 up for the Grenadiers. Opening up on the building, assaulting it with the Grenadiers. Grenades being lobbed at the riflemen. One down, LMG firing away as well as grenades are being lobbed in. Heavy rifleman losses, they might in fact be lost in entirety. Almost, yes, almost. Machine gun slowly advancing. Heavy mortar fire, though why he's keeping them near the mortars is beyond me. But good use of mortars actually from Howyoulikemenow. Able to get lots of firepower down on the German attacking forces in particular, since they again lack that blitzkrieg dash. Instead just moving in a very slow pace, exposing themselves a lot of firepower. And only 2 infantry teams yet he's getting veterancy free instead of more infantry. Anti-tank gun might be cleared out. Assault rifles on the stormtroopers and forced to run the gauntlet. And Schwimmwagen getting cleared out by riflemen. Looks like things are completely falling apart from the 91st Luftlande Division. Grenadiers standing around. And I must admit, I have rarely seen something like this. And for those expecting some sort of pro game, I do apologize, but I do seem to be getting a lot of this. And as of reason, I don't really have a lot of good allied games yet. I wanted to show something with allies. Because, well, I haven't shown a lot. I've rather been heavy on the Wehrmacht replay, so I rather thought I'd show something else, but it's a bit hard to get something currently which doesn't seem to involve lots of panzer grenadiers and then losing them in hordes. And that's not too exciting either. So at least for this rather different game might prove for us to have some interesting bits. And of course show the importance of actually being aggressive and having a sort of decent tactic and strategy, and of course keeping your infantry together. And there we go, grenadiers and stormtroopers together. And again, if you're really going to use the LMG-42, use it properly. Actually have your troops stand still and fire on them. Assaulting the building, ignoring heavy machine gun fire. Grenades being lobbed. Lots of mortar fire coming down on the stormtroopers. Heavy machine guns getting out. Good job there in dodging assault. Assault can easily be dodged. In fact, if you're, for example, in a garrison unit, get them out of there and get them in, and those will be 50 munitions wasted. Utterly wasted. Armored car ready nearby with a quad mount anti-aircraft cannon. 450 calibers, able to put down a lot of firepower. And what is this? Nebelwerfer from the Someguyfromscotland battery, I suspect. Although which one I cannot say.
We can airdrop resources now.
Looks like they might be opening up. There we go. The howling of the Nebelwerfers, but I can't help but feel it is too little too late. Reconnaissance run going in. Panzer Command, let's go look at some dude. Lacking a lot of fuel because most of it has gone to infantry veterancy. In fact, if he, for example, had not gone for veterancy 3, he might actually have been able to get a Panzer 4 right now. Instead, he's going for Knights Cross Holders. Grenadiers again charging in when he has them with an LMG-42. My God. What are you doing? Stormtroopers advancing slowly. Oh dear. Knights Cross Holders on the way. Riflemen moving in. Looks like this Nebelwerfer will be cleared out. Buildings blocking the machine gun bunker. Anti-aircraft half-track moving in. Knights Cross charging in, coming under fire from the half-track. As the anti-aircraft mount opens up. Snipers now for Howyoulikemenow. Knights Cross Holders getting torn apart by veterancy 3 riflemen, my goodness. And a grenadier team completely cleared out. Bloody hell. And one thing's for sure, some dude from Scotland can certainly look forward to a demotion and a trip to the front lines. And if he's really lucky, he's going to the Eastern Front. Of course, I'm being sarcastic there. Now then, that was of course not the best of matches. Of course, it was the rather one to show, of course, a lot of bad things to do. I mean, really incredible. I mean, again, it shows the importance of actually having some decent tactics, some decent strategy. That was really what was lacking from some dude from Scotland. I'm pretty sure this could have been over a lot sooner Had Howyoulikemenow perhaps been a bit more aggressive, but we did see good use of mortars. Mortars can really make the difference if properly used. Mortars, the less sung off hero. Remember to use them, but don't rely on them solely. Of course, get some infantry. That was how Howyoulikemenow actually did well, whereas some dude from Scotland seemed pretty bad at the infantry business, and the LMG-42, I'm a bit unsure as to the effectiveness. I'm taking it under re-evaluation since there's a rather large discussion going on about it, but still, if you're going to equip it to your men, stand them still, don't charge them into your infantry. It does not fire on the move. I repeat, it does not fire on the move. Still, not the best of games, I apologize, but I hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. If you did, why not subscribe and tell your friends, and if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own. I am in particular lacking some allied games with some good players on both sides that does not involve just spamming panzer grenadiers and rushing for armored cars. Please, something else than that. Anyhow, cheers, and remember, don't do as this guy, he was terrible. Cheers.